So you're probably wondering why we're starting this review from under the hood. Well, there's a very good reason for that. You see, Stefan Scheider has very carefully managed to fit in 416 horses into this handcrafted lump of metal. And that's quite a lot, especially for a two-door convertible. So let's get out there, put pedal to the metal, and see what that means when you're out on the track. As we make our way out onto the Both International circuit, I should point out that the first couple of generations of this car were considered to be, how can I put this? Well, hairdressers' cars. Over the years though, the SLK has grown a little bit of hair on its chest, and it's actually a pretty mean machine. So the 416 horses that it produces comes to you via a 5.5 litre V8, naturally aspirated V8, so it sounds pretty good, although it's not quite as loud as I would like it.
Last month, we brought the monstrous E63 AMG to the track, which is powered by essentially the same engine as the SLK. Except that it has two turbos slapped onto its handcrafted V8 for good measure. While the SLK laps the BIC a full 2 seconds faster than the E63, the E63's 557 horses help it race to 100 km an hour 4/10 quicker than the SLK in a mind-numbing 4.2 seconds.
And I have to admit, I completely fell head over heels for that car. It's a great machine to drive around every day. It's the perfect Q car because it doesn't look the part. And then you can bring it out on the BIC and do crazy power slides. But I have to admit, the SLK is smaller, it's tighter, it's more lit, it's more precise, and it just goes exactly where you point it on the racetrack. There's no delay whatsoever. It feels perfectly balanced, and, well, as you would expect, being a sports car, it is far more suited to the racetrack than the E63. Every day though, out on the real world, at roughly the same price, about a crore, 1.3 crores, I would still choose the E63. But if I were coming to the Both International circuit every day, and I was going to do stuff like that, then I would have the SLK.
And while the piece de resistance of the SLK is still the folding roof, there is one more piece of sci-fi tech that renders all the other options on this car as something from the Stone Age. We have what Mercedes calls Magic Sky Control. Now that's a nice name for an option. You see, the roof has particles within the glass that align when an electric current is applied to it, blocking light. And these particles scatter with the press of a button, allowing light to pass through.
So it's now overcast and it's raining, so the roof is letting in a little bit more sky than it was earlier this morning when it was bright sunshine. And it's kind of nice that it's raining and it's a little bit wet, because when I do crazy power slides like that, I'm not as concerned about the rear tires. The cabin as a whole is built like a vault. It really feels like it's milled from a solid piece of aluminium. It's not quite as special as an F-Type. It doesn't have that drama, it doesn't have that sense of occasion. It doesn't even look as special. It certainly doesn't sound as special. But I have to say, when I was driving the F-Type around this racetrack, my palms were getting kind of sweaty and I was a little afraid of getting in over my head. No such problems with this car. It is completely predictable. I've got the traction control turned off, as you may have imagined, but there's just no fear whatsoever, because I know that the angle of the slide is purely dependent on the amount of throttle input. So even though the track is a little damp, I can just hold the slide like that, and I know that the car's not going to snap. And that's a sign of a really, really, really good chassis. I have to admit that I did not expect to like the SLK as much as I do. I've driven an SLK in previous generations, and it's a very, very capable car. It's a great car to hammer around the racetrack every day, but it just doesn't excite you. It doesn't feel special. This one, though, is different. It really feels like a solid sports car, a solid muscle car come sports car. I'd still have the E63 every day, though.